This is a fantastic day. We've got Army-Navy game coming up. Go Navy! But just remember, everybody who plays in that game gets to go on, and they're putting their life on the line in the military. And that's probably one of the most important football games of the year, without a doubt. We're in a time of various transitions, flux going on, real estate market. What is the biggest wealth builder in the United States? Without a doubt, real estate. And how do most people really build wealth over their life? They do it by owning real estate. And let me tell you something. I got 2 years ago to meet a lady who is amazing. She's amazing in operations. She's amazing in management. She's amazing in motivation. She's my branch manager. I'd like for you to meet Miss Linda Davidson. Welcome aboard, Linda.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure being with you today. Thanks for having me, Jim.
Well, thank you. And thank you for taking the time, because I think we're at a kind of a crossroads in our nation right now, with interest rates seeming to stabilize or come down, as well as home prices becoming more available, more properties available. My neighborhood signs are sprouting up almost like spring flowers. And I think we're going to be going into a much, much better year this next year in 2023. What is your feelings about that, Linda?
Absolutely. So let's go back real quickly, and I'll make this real as short as I can. So let's talk about why interest rates went so low in 2020 and 21. So we saw just a crazy market because the Feds came in 2020 and bought what's called mortgage-backed securities, which is what securitizes loans on the back end. And they artificially kept interest rates low to jumpstart the economy, because it was right after the pandemic hit. So they wanted to make sure that the economy didn't crash, right? So they jump started the economy. They kept interest rates artificially low. And so we saw this crazy boom of everyone and their mother wanting to buy a house. They refinance their house or whatever with these low rates of the 2s and the 3s. So then the Feds, so then we started seeing in 2021, we started seeing inflation numbers go up. So inflation numbers are the arch enemy of lower interest rates. So what the Feds did in order to keep the market stable, they started raising what's called Fed fund rates. And Fed fund rates is like your credit cards, your short-term rates, but it's an indirect correlation to your mortgage rates. So, and then the thing that really caused mortgage rates to start going up, and so we got away from the multiple offers and the crazy market and all of that, is because the Feds not only stopped buying mortgage-backed securities, but they started selling back what they had bought. And obviously, as an investor, if you want to buy something that's not going to refinance, you're going to buy the ones with the 2s and the 3s and not the ones in the 6s and the 7s, because those are going to refinance down the road, right? So that is what's caused mortgage rates in the market to shift a little bit and be slower in the last few months. Because we saw in October, and numbers are looking to be, inflation numbers are going to be better in November, then that tells us that we should start seeing mortgage interest rates start coming back down. My prediction, and you're 100% correct, Jim, but if I had to place $1,000 bet right now, my prediction is that we're going to see rates back in the 5s by spring of 2023. So what is that? So everyone says, okay, well, maybe I should wait and purchase until then. Well, so is everyone else. So and here's the deal. When you have multiple offers and you got to overpay for a house because you're up against 10 other offers, you can't refinance what you overpaid on that house.
That's
but
right.
You can certainly refinance the higher interest rate now, where you're not up against those 10 offers per house, where you're not having to overpay for that home in order to get it. Right now, it's a normal market where sellers are willing to pay some closing costs normally, where they're willing to do some negotiation normally. Again, it's a normal market. And so someone would be better off, in my opinion, to purchase now, and then we can refinance as the rates come down, because once rates come up, everyone else is going to go out and start purchasing, and then we're going to be right back into that multiple offer situation. Another thing that you said, Joan, was that your housing is so much, or real estate, so much of your of wealth, right? Um,
Without a doubt.
if you look at the appreciation over the last 5 years in housing, it is absolutely crazy. And it's run anywhere from 10 to 20% appreciation per year. You can't get that in a 401k. You can't get that in any of those types of investments. Not to say you shouldn't have those and diversify, obviously, but real estate's the best way to build that wealth. And if you bought now, and then you went up, you've just built equity into your home. So I think right now I mean, I'm not looking for investment properties right now because I think right now is the best time to purchase, even if you're paying a high interest rate, because we can always refinance, but I'm not having to pay over or have to be up against 10 other offers per house.
Well, now you and I have been in this business quite a while. A 5.25%, 5.5% interest rate is really a more normal interest rate.
Normal market.
Right.
Absolutely.
So this is not abhorrently high. 8, 10, 12s, 14. Remember when rates went? Yeah, it went like that. All right. So let's talk about, because this is a veteran-oriented show, and I want to make sure, first of all, I hear a number of young veterans saying to me, what do you mean? I can't buy a home. And I go, yes, you can, because VA gives you a wonderful opportunity and a benefit to buy a home with 100% financing. And if you can get the seller to pay your closing costs, you can get into that home with nothing, maybe $500 for the appraisal.
Right.
And if you are a partially disabled or a disabled veteran, in the state of Texas, as it is in many other states, you get to decrease your ad valorem real estate taxes by the amount of that disability. This is an important program. And a lot of people say, well, it's government deal and the paperwork's so difficult. So you're an expert when it comes to VA home loans. Tell us a little bit about qualification and the paperwork trail and how you build a roadmap to help veterans get there.
Absolutely. So just like any loan, we're going to look at income, asset, and credit, right? Those are the things that we're going to look at, the employment, income. We're going to look at, do you have funds to close? Again, to your point, right now, we see seller contribution in a lot of the houses. When that market shifts again, and we start seeing multiple offers, and sellers aren't willing to pay those closing costs because they don't have to, because they've got 10 other offers on the house. And then we also obviously, so employment, income, assets, and then we're going to look at credit. So VA doesn't necessarily have a set credit score that they require, but there are certain criteria that a lender has to look at to make sure that they're going to meet guidelines that VA sets so that VA guarantees the loan. So we're going to look at those. VA is much more lenient in a lot of areas. Not to say that someone's got a 492 credit score and no job, can they get a loan? No, they can't. But they're much more lenient than like a conventional type financing. So it's really important too, as you know, to go to a loan officer who is an expert in VA loans, because there are programs that we can certainly look at to help in those closing costs. They're not as many as there used to be, but there's still programs. We can also look at even if you have the service-connected disability that you just talked about, that funding fee that VA loans charge you, that is waived. So there's so many benefits in buying a home, and then they can turn around and file their homestead and then also their VA disability towards their taxes, and so lowering that payment. So owning a home as a veteran is amazing, and there's so much opportunity, and it is for just the veteran and their spouse. It cannot be passed on to your kids, or can't be because your father was a veteran or whatever. It is strictly for that veteran and their spouse. And so, but because it's such a cool and awesome benefit, that's why they want to make sure that the veterans have that benefit.
Now, one of the other things that you didn't mention, and if anybody is familiar with government loans, FHA, but maybe they don't know a whole lot about VA, and they say, well, I don't want to do a government loan because there's mortgage insurance. Yes, there is an upfront VA funding fee, but depend if you have disability. But again, within VA, if you can get the seller in negotiation to pay, then that can be taken out of the equation. The other side of that is there is no monthly, unlike FHA, or if you do some of the subprime, or if you do some of the things that require mortgage insurance like MGIC provides, you're looking at an additional monthly expense. With
Exactly.
the VA, you haven't got that expense. You're just paying the interest.
Exactly. And if you have it 10% or greater, obviously, if you have any type of disability, it's going to be at least 10%, then that upfront funding fee is actually waived by VA. So, which is pretty cool in itself. And so then there's options too that we can get that mortgage. If you wanted to put maybe, let's say 5% down, you can actually get that. If let's say you don't have a disability, but you put 5% down, you can get that funding fee much lower, that upfront funding fee. But there is no monthly PMI or MIP on a VA loan, which again, just like you said, it's going to make that monthly so much cheaper.
Now, the other thing is, a lot of people say, well, I know government loans, which they really don't. And, there's a loan limit on here. I can't buy something that meets within the neighborhood or meets within the area that I'm in because it's not enough. What is the loan limit on a VA loan?
So VA does not have a loan limit if you have full eligibility. So what is full eligibility? So full eligibility means you don't have another home against your VA eligibility. Now, if you have a VA mortgage already against your eligibility, whether you're going to keep your current home and turn it into a primary home or rental property or whatever, then we use the conforming loan limit to do a calculation. And so, and then we just got this week the new conforming loan limits for conventional, which is 726,200 for next year. And so, again, there's no loan limit on VA if you have full eligibility. You don't have a VA mortgage already against your eligibility. But if you do, there is a possibility you can go ahead and keep that current home if you wanted to, like it is, turn it into a rental property, and then still purchase another home going VA. We have to do the numbers. There's a calculation that VA requires us to look at, but we can certainly run those numbers and see if that's possible.
Here's one of the other things. To my knowledge, the VA home loan is the only assumable loan. It can be assumed by another veteran, which could make things really, really easy for somebody when they want to go sell a home. Correct?
That is correct. And there's some criteria in that, so we definitely want to talk to that individual who's thinking about doing an assumption and give them pros and cons. For an example, if they allow someone to assume that that's not a veteran, then they tie up their eligibility. So we don't recommend that. But if the other person that they're selling it to is a veteran, then they can switch over their eligibility to the other person. So there's and again, that's why it's so important, Jim, to come to an expert that understands VA mortgages, understands how they work. And, I'm not a veteran. My husband is a veteran. He's actually, like you are, a Vietnam veteran. And,
well, Linda, let's real quick, because we're going to be going to a break in a little bit less than a minute. Give out your website, give out your contact information, because I want veterans to know where to go. And Fairway, we are one of the leading VA lenders in the United States. We are also the lender for the Texas Veterans Commission. We partner with them in doing our Texas Veterans Land Board loan. So this is real important. Give out your information real quick, and then we'll be back right after the break.
Absolutely. It's 972-278-3400 is the office number, 972-278-3400. Or they can apply online at LindaDavidsonMortgageExpert.com, or they can just email me.
All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have that email message, this Veterans Impact Show. Welcome back to the Veterans Impact Show, and thanks to our sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage and Lone Star Wealth Strategies. Now, let's continue this great conversation. Well, I'm talking with real estate expert, real estate mortgage expert, Linda Davidson of Fairway Independent Mortgage. Actually, I work for her in her branch, and she's one of the most amazing managers I've ever dealt with. So that's why I wanted to have her on to talk about this market, what's going on, and we've been talking about VA home loans. So we had to take an interruption. Again, Linda, put out your contact information, the phone number.
Sure, not a problem.
Everything, please.
Okay, so the office number is 972-278-3400. My website is lindadavidsonmortgageexpert.com, and then, or they can email me at linda.davidson@fairwaymc.com. So linda.davidson@fairwaymc.com.
Now, also for all of our viewers and listeners in South Texas, we have some great people down in that part of the world, in Del Rio, in the San Antonio area. So if you want to get a hold of, if you're down there and you're a veteran and you want to have the ability to have a great expert help you, we've got a fantastic Joanna Campesano. And I don't have her contact information. I made a mistake this morning. But if you go back through Linda Davidson, Linda can send you to Joanna and her team down in South Texas, and we can help you to really have home ownership. And a lot of people say to me, well, why should I have a homeowner? Well, why should I do that? And we've already talked about it's wealth building, but let me tell you from another aspect, it is absolutely the best thing you can invest for your family, for family security, family stability, and there ain't nothing like having that for a home. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely. It builds, it's the fastest thing to build wealth. And so if you look at millionaires, if you look at those who have built wealth, a lot of them, majority of them have built it through real estate.
I think that's important. And let me tell you, for the family, go back to saying it again, because I have counseled many, many veterans, and home ownership stabilizes a family like nothing else that I've ever seen.
Absolutely does.
And I think that's important. Now, a lot of veterans say to me, well, what do I need to do this? And I think the most important thing is you're going to need a copy of your DD-214, correct? Now, and a lot of them say it's so difficult to get a certificate of eligibility. That's not true. Linda, tell us about how that works.
Absolutely. So if you do have a copy of your DD-214, we can get your eligibility for you. Depending on when you were in the service, a lot of times we can just pull it online immediately. Sometimes our older generation, Jim, we have to go through a little bit more steps in order to get their certificate of eligibility. But we know those steps. We know what needs to happen in order to make that happen. But majority of the time, we can order it online and through a service that we do, that we're connected with VA, and pull it within about 5 minutes, which is pretty cool.
Well, let me tell you also, within the state of Texas, there are VA accredited reps. And if you need some help there, and you'll give me a call at 214-502-4600. That's 214-502-4600. I can connect you with a free service of a VA accredited rep that may be able to help you get some of the DD-214 or documentation if you've lost it. Those guys are phenomenal. And if you have other potential benefits, and Linda, do you have any idea how many times I've sat with seniors and they couldn't hear me and I was shouting? And I said, what did you do? And I go, I was an artillery commander in Korea, or I was an artillery commander in Vietnam. I said, do you know that you could go to the VA and get hearing aids? And they go, oh, I wouldn't do that. The paperwork's too difficult. Man, you have no idea how many veterans I have sent to veteran service officers across the nation. I've done it in other states as well, because we are, and gotten them 20% disability and $6,000 worth of, and so VA has got benefits for you. The most important, in my opinion, is home ownership and going to the right place, because we are a national company, Fairway Independent Mortgage. We're across the nation, and we're one of the top VA lenders, and we are one of the top lenders for the Texas Veterans Land Board as well. That's another great VA program. So we're going to be right back after these words from all of our partners. Again, joining me, Miss Linda Davidson. We're going to continue to talk about real estate. We're going to continue to talk about how you can build wealth, how you can build stability for your family, and how you can take the benefits provided for you by being a veteran and turn it into a great life. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Veterans Impact Show, and thanks to our sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage and Lone Star Wealth Strategies. Now, let's continue this great conversation. Well, joining me today is Miss Linda Davidson, absolutely tremendous expert. I got the opportunity to go to work for her a couple of years ago, and I have been very, very pleased with this professionalism that I've seen, and I'm not saying that lightly, Linda. We've been talking about VA home loans and how terribly important that is. So what about other types of loans? We do everything, correct?
We do. We obviously do conventional loans, FHA, VA, USDA. USDA is probably the least known loan, which is it is also a single down product. It's for rural, so there is some very specific income and area guidelines to that, but it is kind of a fun loan also. So we're talking, Jim, we are in the top lenders. We're in the top 5 for VA, we're in the top 5 for FHA, and we're the number 1 USDA lender. So in the top 5 for VA, FHA, and USDA for Fairway Mortgage, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
And how amazing that we get to serve so many clients, depending on what is needed for them. We get to serve and help them, our families, into home ownership. That is amazing.
I think it's so significant. Now, one of the things that I do, and I came to work as part of your team as a specialist, as a senior care lender, as a reverse mortgage lender. And so for many veterans, I'm either refinancing that home or I'm helping them to downsize into something that may be or right size, more easily accommodating. We are the number 1 purchase lender in the reverse part of this business in the United States. We're a number 4th or 5th, I believe. I can't remember exactly. So when you're talking about senior care and you're talking about building a roadmap for the future, Linda, one of the things you're huge on is life planning.
Yes.
And without a doubt, one of the most important parts of life planning is budget planning.
Yes.
And without a doubt, when seniors, whether they're veterans or whatever, and you've got a pension, you've got Social Security, what a lot of people don't realize is if one of the two of you passes away or becomes into a nursing home, you lose that part of the Social Security. You could even lose a pension if they didn't have rights of survivorship. So looking at using all of your assets, looking at using your home equity is a fabulous way to build so you can actually have increased wealth. Believe it or not, you can, and we can show you that. But for the most part, it balances your budget. It's part of that life planning process that you do, Linda. So
I love life planning. I think it's so important. I'm a big business planner. I spend about a week every year doing my business plan for the following year. But life planning is such a huge amount of it. I make my kids and my grandkids do it and renew that every year. And then we have our that's really what I want for Christmas every year, right? It's just a renewed life plan. But also for our team, as you know, Jim, we go out there, I teach it, I encourage them to do their life plan every single year or renew it so that to make sure that, they're, as you know, I have this saying, and it's one of my favorite quotes in Alice in Wonderland. Alice goes up to the Cheshire Cat, and Cat said, there was a fork in the road, and she said, "What road do I take?" And the Cheshire Cat said, "Which way where do you want to go?" And she said, "I don't care," or "I don't know." And he said, "Well, then the road doesn't matter." So your road should matter. So your road to homeownership, your road to whatever you want in life should matter, but you should know, and there should be a plan to get what you want to accomplish.
And that roadmap should include, and I am a certified senior advisor, which means I have almost the equivalent of a master's degree in gerontology. And one of the things is all of the planning, including the family, life documents, wills,
Yes.
durable powers of attorney,
Yes.
medical directives. I've got a situation right now, retired Navy commander, pilot, did not have a will.
Yep.
Second marriage. She is in a fight with the former family over the home and everything else.
It's a mess.
If you don't have the documentation, then
Yes.
you're going to really be hurt. So part of what I do is that when I sit down with people, I counsel them. I get the family involved and say, these are the things you need to have for this roadmap into the future. Now, we're also, when we're talking about this planning, let me tell you, I partner with a lot of community banks throughout about 5 states. One of the things I'm talking to them about is, how do you do business development? How do you help people? And having workshops that include VA benefits, other things, roadmap to the future, using all your assets. These are the things people need to know. We can do those workshops, and we can do them for realtors as well. I mentioned to you Jenny Manning, who just put us into her newsletter. Great realtor in Dallas. And I'm going to help her develop a use for my program and how we can help people to basically further their life and make things better. Now, I also have a book, The Challenges of Change. If you want to know more about that, give me a call. I'll send you a free copy of the book. It's not a how-to. There's plenty of those out there. This is a why-to situation. So, again, Jim Blythe at 214-502-4600. The other thing I want to mention to you, and in some of your real high-cost areas of the United States, the Highland Parks, the East Coast, the West Coast, the loan valuation limit for FHA has been raised to $1,089,000 plus change. That means if you are in $1 million home and it's a 2-story with a pool and you don't need it, but you want to keep that lifestyle. So let's say you want to buy a $900,000 townhouse that is really dolled out and keep your lifestyle. You can do it with a reverse mortgage, and depending on your age and all of the variables that we have to deal with, you could end up buying that home, have no monthly payment, and have $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 left over to go into your retirement. You know how important that is, Linda? 95% of the people in the United States do not have anything but Social Security. How would you like to take that 1972 house that you paid maybe $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 and turn it into a $300,000 or $400,000 retirement?
Yes, absolutely. And Jim, I love your heart to serve. It's been such a pleasure working with you, because you really look at the full picture for your clients, and I absolutely love that. It's not just here's a loan, but you look at the full picture and say, what's going to be the best thing for this client? And I absolutely love that. It's so much fun to watch.
I love that and the reverse mortgage program has improved. It's changed. If you've heard a lot of bad stuff, call me, because I can dispel a lot of myths, because the program has changed and it's frequently referred to as the Swiss Army knife of lending. So we can do all kinds of things. The big difference is I'm not a movie actor. Matter of fact, I look real good on radio, not on TV. And I will sit down in your home, and we have Fairway members throughout the United States that are part of this team that specialize in reverse, and they will sit down with you and help you to build that roadmap. And if you want to, again, call me, send me an email, go to my website, jimblythe.net, which has all the links to Fairway. We'll get you a copy of the book. And if you need other information, we'll get it for you. I am really wanting you to understand you don't need to have a catastrophe when one of your two spouses passes away. You don't need to have a catastrophe late in life because your income, you lost your job, and you don't have the funds it takes to be able to pay for prescription medicines or even food. I have saved so many people. It's not about what you do right now, but it's what you do that has a long-reaching impact in the future. And so I want to talk to you. Again, Jim Blythe at 214-502-4600. And if you're a young veteran, I want to talk to you because I want you to talk to Linda Davidson or our team in South Texas or our team across the nation, because you need home stability and you need wealth building, without a doubt.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I think one of the most important things, too, is Fairway. We don't do a whole lot of radio, TV. We advertise here on our broadcast, but we are professionals. We're not actors. We sit down with you. That's a huge difference, in my opinion. Yeah, we're not a call center. My wife just said we're not a call center.
We're not a call center. No, we understand, and we understand our local community. That's, I think, what is so important is understanding. We understand where you live.
Without a doubt. And we are also very, very involved with the realtor community. And there are many, many realtors that we work with that can really help you and navigate. And this was so difficult for quite a while in the last few months of being able, people who needed to buy a home, and boy, they couldn't. How many offers? There were as many as 50 offers on properties, Linda?
That was crazy. We had one that had 72 offers. That was my highest one. But the majority of the houses had at least 10 offers during that crazy time. And we're going to see that again, that this pent up amount of people that are waiting, quote unquote, for interest rates to come down, which I think by quarter one, by the end of quarter one. But then again, what's going to happen because of that, then you're going to overpay for the home, no seller contribution. You're going to be up against all these multiple offers. And we can't refinance that extra amount that you pay for the home. That's just, you just pay for it. So you're out of pocket. But the right now, it's a great time to get in because we can always refinance the actual mortgage of it. But then you're already getting in at the lower price, not against all the multiple offers right now.
A lot of people say to me, Jim, we're going to have a terrible real estate crash. Guys, I've been in this business since 1972. Linda, you weren't even born then, I don't think.
I was born then. I was definitely born then. But
okay, well, you never know
I was 10.
to meet
10.
you.
11. I was 11.
But if you take a look at the historical track record of real estate values since 1946, you're going to find it's always gone up. Yes, there's been bubbles, the 2008, the 1987. There's been ups and downs. But right now, take a look at what's going on. In the state of Texas, there's like $44 billion worth of construction going on in high-tech facilities throughout Central Texas. Take a look at the jobs. Texas, for veterans, we are probably, if not the number one state, we're number two behind California, and we're growing fast because of jobs. Jobs and salaries, income, that's what drives the ability for people to buy homes. That's what drives the home prices up. Correct, Linda?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you look at the households forming over the years, we definitely are not going to have any type of 2008 real estate crash like we had. There's, in fact, not enough inventory to what is needed. So we're definitely, people are, you and I both have heard, we're just going to wait to see we get all the foreclosures and I'll get a better deal. It's not going to happen. There's not enough inventory for the amount of households that have formed in Texas and really pretty much across the U.S. and maybe in some areas, but no, you're 100% correct.
And I think it's really important too to know that our economy is maybe a little bit stronger than we think it is. In all this negative press, I just wish that they would get an education and report the news instead of trying to manipulate us. That's my
Bad
2
news
cents.
sells. Bad news sells, right? And so that's, why you see it.
But let's go back to, let me tell a war story real quick about, I met with a guy in Robeson Ranch several years ago, and he and his wife had bought a beautiful golf course home. They had plenty of money in retirement, and they had about $10,000 a month in pension and in Social Security. She died of a freak stroke. Absolutely. She was way too young, in her mid-60s. The net result is he lost $8,000 a month income, and he couldn't afford to stay in that house. And here's the scary part of the tale. He tried to do it, and he tried to stay there and lost everything. Our information, again, for you to know more about where you can learn how to buy a home, how to be able to finance a home, and how to have home ownership. So we're going to be right back in just a second. This is the Veterans Impact Show. Join us in South Texas. We've got some great people down there. Take a look at YouTube. Join us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We're here to help you, whether you're a veteran or a civilian. It's all about continuing the mission. This is the Veterans Impact Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Veterans Impact Show, and thanks to our sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage and Lone Star Wealth Strategies. Now, let's continue this great conversation. Well, joining me today, and we're about to wrap this show up, and I'm going to bring this program into the dock because I'm a Navy veteran, I've got Linda Davidson. If you just now are tuning in, go back and watch this because this is a wealth building show. This is not a bunch of hokum. This is not, oh, gee, let me tell you something. I have the foremost lender I have ever run into, and I know there's a lot of great ones out there, but we've been talking about VA home loans. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the Texas Veterans Land Board, and Linda was also mentioning Fairway is one of the leading lenders in the nation in USDA agricultural loans. If you can't get the money, then there is no funny, and you ain't going down that road. I'm sorry. I had to do that. My wife is...
She's shaking her head over there, right?
Yeah. Well, that's part of broadcasting is being able to make people smile. But again, you don't get left out, and don't think, I can't ever do this. What if you had credit issues? Maybe you were deployed and your credit got train wrecked. We can help put you on a plan, as we've talked about, getting that roadmap to the future. If you want to do wealth building, if you want to be stable, if you want to have stability for your family, home ownership is the way to do it. And if you don't have the money, VA can help you get there without a doubt. Again, Linda, give out your telephone number and your website where people can go to get help.
Sure. The office number is 972-278-3400. And my website is LindaDavidsonMortgageExpert.com. And my email address is linda.davidson@fairwaymc.com.
Now, we have a great loan officer down in South Texas. I have talked with her. I am so impressed. Joanna Campesano, do I pronounce that correctly?
You did it right.
Okay, so it would be J-O, capital A-N-N-A, period, C-O-M-P-O-S-A-N-O, at fairwaymc.com. Check with her. If you need the phone number, call Linda, call me. We'll get it for you. If you're in South Texas, we want you to be taken care of. If you're in California, we've got people out there. If you're in other parts of the United States, whether it's Norfolk, Florida, whatever, we have Fairway people who will help you. That's important to know. Linda, I like to close with a prayer, and I know that you are a phenomenal leader of our team with a Christian attitude and Christian beliefs. So let's close with a prayer. Dear Lord God, we thank you so much for our veterans and putting a hedge of protection and protecting them and protecting our active duty military and our first responders as they stand in the breach and protect us around the world. Thank you, God, for those men and women who are willing to stand up and salute and lift their right arm to say, we will serve. So thank you, God, for them and protect them. This we pray in your mighty name. Amen. Linda, it is always a blessing to have you on the program and to be able to talk about everything. And it's a blessing to be able to know that you are helping not only veterans, but people. So if people want to know about life planning, you've got some materials you could send them as well, correct?
I do, absolutely.
Okay.
It's a passion of mine for sure.
Without a doubt. So again, give out your phone number, give out your website so people can reach you.
Okay, my number is 972-278-3400, which is the office. My email address is linda.davidson@fairwaymc.com. And my website is lindadavidsonmortgageexpert.com.
And I'm Jim Blythe, a certified senior advisor, a reverse specialist, a senior care specialist. If you want to talk to me, I'm at 214-502-4600. If you want to talk to me about how you can connect and get VA benefits, I will direct you to the right people. And I've been able to help people in the past across the nation. Also, if you want me to help you build a roadmap for the future, whether it's for you or whether it's for your family or your parents, please give me a call. I'm here to help. And it's not always about the mortgage. It's about helping you build that roadmap life plan for success. Please don't be one of those statistics that I see all the time of people that all of a sudden are devastated by loss of income, devastated by being on a fixed income, devastated by other issues. And if you have a spouse that's passed away, let me help you because I know a lot of people who can. So again, I'm Jim Blythe, certified senior advisor, 214-502-4600, jimblythe.net. I'm here for you with Fairway Independent Mortgage, and Linda Davidson is here. Thank you for being on board, and join us next week. Spread the word. Get us out there on YouTube and Facebook. We're here to help you.